and then we move on to the draft because that's the next thing we're going to talk about. DC, let's kind of move and peruse. Haven't used that in a while. Let's peruse on down to the draft and talk about potential picks at 14 for the Pelicans in this upcoming draft. Man, now of course we had the show. We went over several different possible people that'll be available, perhaps at the 14th spot. What would be the position of need? Some people say we can need another guard. We got KLJ, but no, we need another guard that can shoot. We need a stretch four. We need a center. I've heard a lot of the people in the comment section and family members are saying the same thing. So let's look at some of the options, DC. We don't have to go too deep into it because we'll do a different show where we kind of cover all of this as the draft is approaching. So let's go into a few of them. You made mention of a couple of people that you like. Let's cover them now.
Well, I'll start with this, man, and saying the position of need that we have is shooting. we need the position called shooting. So I think we can rectify or fix whatever issues we have defensively. But man, I mean, how much work we gonna keep trying to give to Fred Vincent? We need to draft somebody this time. Because think about all our draft picks, man. I mean, everybody who's a draft pick obviously is gonna need work. That's just they're rookies. They're gonna need work. But how many guys have we came in here that needed work shooting? Pretty much all of them, other than Trey. Everybody needed work on their shot. This year, I think we need to get someone that basically they don't need a lot of work in that area. Let's give Mr. Collins a little bit more work this time. And find somebody that maybe needs some help in that area. So the guys I like is none other than Grady Dick. Obviously, everybody likes him, right? I like Jordan Hawkins a lot as well. Well, let's talk about Grady. A lot of people are comparing him to the guy that we wanted off of Detroit, man. He gets strong comparisons to Bogdanovich. Some people have even went as far as to say Reggie Miller. I don't know about that shit. But they've went as far as to say that he's basically a guy who is a small forward, but he can kind of play as a two as well. Very tall, got a lot of hustle. He needed a little help defensively, but he gonna give you his all. You know what I'm saying? Effort and energy is always there, man. He's a guy that plays the game the right way. He can make shots with the ball in his hands. He's got step back, side steps. He can get to the goal. He's got a little bit of athleticism. He might be able to dunk on a few people. Just a well all-around offensive guy, man. I like him a lot. If he's there at 14, I would be completely ecstatic if the Pelicans pick him.
I don't know if he'll be there at 14. That's the only
I think somebody might take him in the top 10, man. I mean, right, you got a dude with the potential to be we got another one of these 50, 40, 90 guys that he could possibly turn into, and he can actually grow into a starter. Like, this dude can be a starter. So I don't know if he's there for us, but if he is, it's an obvious no-brainer. You're looking at somebody that put up 14 points, a couple of assists, 5-6 rebounds. He does go after offensive rebounds. He's just an all-around good player, man. So they got him projected on this board going 10th to the Mavericks, and I think that would be a very intelligent selection by them. So if Grady Dick is not there, right? My second option, even though there's a lot of guys I still like, you know what I'm saying? Nick Smith, I like him. I like Cavante George, but I really like the guy on this board who's projected to fall right to us at 14, Jordan Hawkins. Mm-hmm. Excellent shooter, in my opinion. This is the best shooter in the whole draft, in my opinion, man. I mean, this dude, he's coming off of pin downs. He's just constantly moving without the ball. You put the ball in his hands and you think he's just some off the catch guy. Nah, he'll break you down, get a shot. He looks a little CJ McCullough-ish. To me, NBA comp for him, man, he kind of reminds me of Ray Allen. A lot of people say that too. They've been calling him Baby Ray. because he plays for UConn, and they obviously won a championship. And
Yep.
he was a big part of that,
Yep.
hitting clutch shots. The one downside to him, he's older. He's 21. But I think that's great for us. That fits right into the same area that our younger core is. All of those guys would be around close to the same age instead of having another 19-year-old come in here.
DC 37
but
games, man, last year. And the kids shot 41% from the field and 39% from downtown while averaging over 16 points a contest. Not bad. 4 rebounds too.
yeah, and then you got to put it in perspective a little bit, Q.
Mm-hmm.
He was their main scorer, right? So we look at these other guys when they'll come in and it's like, oh man, they shoot 32% from 3, right? And you're like, well, wait a minute, like LaMelo Ball. And people be like, well, wait a minute, that guy was the main scorer. He saw all the different coverages. He got all the attention. Well, that's Jordan Hawkins. So if he's doing that with all of that attention, what can he do when he's basically an afterthought? Man, this dude might come in and be able to shoot 45% from 3. He really can do it all offensively, man. He's got a little bit of I guess the only thing you would say he's not is basically like a point guard, obviously, right? But he does have some ability to facilitate. He knows how to get the ball to teammates. He's not a horrible passer, but he's out there to shoot the ball. That's his thing. Defensively, gonna give you all the energy and effort. Actually has some good ability, defensively, man. Sneakily blocked a lot of shots. Yeah, I got your word, Q. Sneakily.
That's all right.
Blocked a lot of shots, man. He gets some steals, and definitely didn't back down from anybody defensively. He didn't show any fear or was scared on that side of the ball. But I mean, he's 6'5", 195, so he can only do so much. But I like this guy a lot, man. Heart of a champion. He had a pretty cool way of introducing himself to go into the draft. I thought that was pretty dope, to win a championship and then they give you a slot on ESPN for you to announce that you're gonna go to the NBA. That was kind of swag, man. This dude to me just kind of has that it factor, and he might be one of them guys. Whether we take him or not, I think we're gonna know his name. So I would really like Jordan Hawkins. Wouldn't be mad at Grady Dick, but that's my 2, man. I think they just fit what this team needs, man. Shooting is a major thing that I think will constantly always be a thing with the core of Zion and BI. You need to put as much shooting around him as possible. Worry about all the defensive liabilities of whether it matches position. Worry about all that shit later. Because if you got shooting around those 2 guys, I guarantee you whatever lineup you try to put out there, as long as they're healthy, it'll probably work.
Yeah, Jordan Hawkins, man. I had the statistics on screen, man, and you can see the film from Hawkins. Is the guy could play, man. He can definitely play.
All right, shooter in the draft for me, Q. I don't think they got a bet on him. Got Jet Howard too, man. Is another sneaky one. I wouldn't be mad if we got him either. Jawan Howard's son, man. He's a pretty damn good shooter too.
Yeah, from Michigan. Yeah, and
he's a little less
on him too.
Huh?
I said good size on him too.
Yeah. He's a little less. What's the word I'm looking for, man? Like refined than Jordan Hawkins. He needs some work. Yeah, he's a little more raw. 19 years old, but 6'8", man. Shoot the damn lights out, man. But he needs help defensively. Not that he don't want to. He's just like, he need help on that side of the ball, bro. But another awesome shooter here, bro.
I know the contingent is after Grady. They yelling Grady. They love what he brings to the squad. I think Jalen Hills, he knows another interesting option too. DC from out of Indiana. I think he's an interesting player for the Pelicans. Kind of a 6'6" guard who's played the point and the off guard. So there are a couple of guys that we can look at. I know I seen a mock draft person was breaking down a video on him talking about Nick Smith from Arkansas. I seen that one.
What about Carson Wallace? A lot of people compare him to Drew Holiday.
Yeah, Cason Wallace.
Wallace.
Yeah. That is. Yeah, I was looking at film on him the other day. DC,
He'll get minutes. Q. He played defense, huh?
yeah, he does. He does play defense, but when you bringing in guys like this, like we talking about some of the guards, DC, we bringing them in. This spells doom for KLJ, correct?
Well, I mean, it's already seeming like doom for KLJ, man. Bearing a just excellent all-season summer league or something like.
Oh, he can be Michael Jordan in the summer league. I don't think it impacts what he's going to do. I think he's.
Well, I mean, I think they would consider giving him more time if he turned into Michael Jordan in the summer league or off season or something.
I just don't see it. I just think
he actually got burned in a meaningful elimination game. So I mean, he didn't. I don't think he played as bad as these stats show, but he didn't make an impact though.
I mean, how you expect him to make impact? And it's like sometimes you got.
He got like 5 minutes.
Yeah, last year he played in 25 games last year for a rapid, great, beautiful Grand Canyon total of 9 minutes a game, 9.5 minutes a game. And with the 9.5 minutes a game, the kid produced almost 5 points. He shot 44% from 3-point range and 45.5% from the field when he did get in there.
Damn, he actually took those 9 minutes. He made a leap.
Right.
Statistically, from an efficiency standpoint, he made a leap.
Way more efficient. DC 45.5%. That's from the field. That's a career high for him. And 44.
And he got almost half his minutes, half the minutes he normally gets.
Right.
Yeah, and with Q with no turnovers.
4.6 minutes. I mean, I'm sorry, I said 5.8. That's his career numbers. 4.6 is what he gave you. Points per game, almost 5 points per game. But even in 9 minutes, a contest, good, but still good field goal shooting minutes, percentages in both.
Field goal percentage has been going up every year, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think we definitely should give Kyra more of a shot, but my thing is Jose Alvarado is really throwing a monkey wrench.
Right, but see, that's what I'm saying. How does that impact what you're doing in terms of the draft? Because obviously people are going to say KLJ's out of here, man. We got Jose Alvarado, we got him. If we go into the draft and we get a Casey Wallace or a Jordan Hawkins or
I think the biggest person that's impacted is Najee, man. Because he has the one spot to me that I think if you can get a potential good rookie that maybe has similar size and they're just better shooting wise, like you could see Najee.
Wait, isn't that EJ Liddell? I mean, if Najee's
EJ Liddell to me is
could he do the Najee role?
Yeah, he could probably do it better than Najee.
Right,
potentially. Based on his skill set and the way he can defend or how they can use him defensively.
Is Najee coming back though, DC?
I don't think it's. I like to have Najee back, man. I know I'm sounding like I'm trying to push him to the side, but I really would like to have it back because we know what we're getting from him, But I think there's a lot of teams that's gonna be potentially eyeing Najee, man. Najee can go somewhere. I mean, the brother came in our starting lineup, Q. And when he was a starter, I think he averaged like 18 points.
That's right.
There's got to be other teams that run a similar system or looking at how we play that crosses over the way they want to play and they can see they can use this guy. I think Najee would look like a totally different player if you had more shooting around him because we have guys on this team, we have a plethora of guys who have the ability to drive to the goal. We don't lack that skill set, and Najee's one of those guys, man. He can get downhill, and it's like it's over. If he get a good head of steam, he's gonna make something positive happen. It ain't always used to be that for his Pelicans tenure, but he's turned himself into a very solid, efficient guy offensively, and also a plus on defense. Najee is a winning player, man, and for us to be able to bring him back at a reasonable contract, I don't know if we're able to do that.
Yeah, it definitely could be. The door could be closed on Najee from a economic standpoint, no doubt about it. That's why EJ Liddell makes that makes sense. We talking about EJ Liddell being able to shoot the ball. That's why I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at it saying, The shooter. You made mention of the shooter doesn't have to come in the personage of a guard. It can come in the personage of a maybe perhaps a forward or even a big. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's an interesting option to look at. So let's kind of entertain everybody right here, DC. Let's talk about the bigs. And I know we making mention of some of the shooter, our skill position guys. And I've heard people talk about several different players attached to it. I've heard people like Anthony Black. They like Grady. I hear people with Nick, like I said, and a few others you mentioned, Jalen Hood, Shafino, and a couple of these other guys. Let's talk about some of the bigs that might be there at 14. If the Pelicans are interested in bigs that are worthy of the 14th overall pick, which ones in particular would fit there for the Pelicans if that was indeed the case? Do
The
we like
closest
any
we get
interest?
to a big to me that I see as good at drafting at that 14th pick is Bryce, man. And he's not really a big. He's more like a guard. But I mean, he's 6'6", 235. Like, you
Mm,
got a guy like Derek Lively, who's probably the second best center in the draft, right?
yeah, out of Duke.
He's almost 7 foot. He's like 6'10". He's like 230.
215 or 220, something around there.
What is he? He's 7 foot 215. So we want another Jackson Hayes. You know what I'm saying? We want another guy that we need to keep in the dark and feed beans and potatoes and steak. Like I think this is, to me, unless I'm looking at it wrong, we got some very knowledgeable people out there who listen to us, so y'all feel free to type in the comments. But when I look at the bigs, man, in this draft, I'm not really impressed as far as somebody that we would take at 14. If you're trying to draft by position.
I don't
What's
think
the little
that's
brother from Wake Forest, man? He's like 6'10", 235. He's not really a center, but he's got the size where he could turn into like an athletic small ball center. I can't remember his name. He would project as a project player though from Wake Forest. I don't even see where they have him listed, man.
but he wouldn't be worthy of of the 14th selection in the draft though, DC.
I don't think there's not many bigs who are Q.
Yeah.
You got some combo guys here,
Right.
but to me,
Hendricks.
Bryce would be the guy. If I'm looking at somebody who I could potentially play as a big, you got like Leonard Miller right there. Got a little size on him, some defensive ability. I think Leonard's more of a scorer though than a defensive guy. If we want a big, we're looking at somebody defensively.
They give you 17 and 10, DC.
Yeah,
38
and
games, 30 minutes of contest. He give you 17 points, 10 rebounds, 54% shooting from the field. I don't know if he's a
right,
guy that you would look at in terms of being like a 14th overall pick here, though.
right, right.
He's listed more. They got him listed at more at a combo position player. Like they got him listed as small forward.
See, we
So
getting all of these guys. To me, they remind me of like Christian Wood prototypes, man. You got a lot of guys in this draft, 6'9", 6'10" ish, 200 pounds, 210, 215, 220. That can score the ball, and it's almost like that's great. That's great, Q. That's amazing to have guys that big can do that. But to me, it's like in this era of the NBA, if you could just add defensive ability to be able to play guys your size or bigger and have that ability, man, you're projecting yourself to be a $150 million player, even if you aren't like a superstar. You know what I'm saying? Because of that skill set. But a lot of these guys, they're more geared towards offense at that size, and it's not really what we need. Pelicans, I don't think we lack scorers. We lack certain skill sets for our shooting for our offense. We need more shooting, but that's all we really need offensively. Some might argue that we need a point guard. I think we're okay, but if we did get some phenomenal point guard, then I would like to have Scoot Henderson on the team, but that shit ain't happening without us
no,
giving up something we don't want to give up, right? I'm not
it ain't
one of
option.
the trade BI or trade Zion people. I'm not on that team. I'm not even trade CJ. I'm not on that team either because uh to me, CJ next to Zion and Brandon Ingram look fucking phenomenal. So I don't know why everybody is ready to blow everything up and we ain't even seen it all together consistently. Um, but far as bigs this draft, man, I think we gotta look more to free agency, Q. Um, I think I'm always a person for NFL or NBA. I think drafting per position is not intelligent. I think you should look for the best player where you're drafting. And if it so happens that you can kind of get a guy at a position of need, then you do it. But if it's just so far of a reach, man, just take the best player, man, and figure it out. But you got a guy like, look, in free agency, you got Brooke. Nikola Jokovic, how good is he defensively, Q? How familiar are you with Nikola Jokovic? Offensively,
Real
I
big
think
man.
he would be an upgrade over JV, but what are we looking at defensively? Jacob Purtle will probably be a nice get
Yeah.
if we convince him to come over here.
Yeah, I don't think I think the word on the street Toronto trying to lock him back in. So
Brooke Lopez is more than likely going back to Milwaukee. Like, why would he leave?
why would you leave? Right. Unless they
Right.
don't want
He's got a great role over there. He's praised in his role. He's paid, I think, pretty good for somebody who's 35, and he still is impactful in the role that they've etched out for him. Why would he leave there?
right. Indeed, man. So let's keep and you're right. You look at the phrase if that's the thing, if they're looking to move on from Valachunas, that could be an option that they look
We
to
could get Christian Wood, right?
had Christian Wood here before that. It just goes to show you, man, it's how stuff works out, man. Really, it's crazy how it works out, right? Had this guy here before. It's like, man, don't let the guy go. He goes and he shows his
Man,
ass.
I remember we was doing them shows, boy. We was so excited, bro. Man, we gonna have Jackson Hayes, Christian Wood, and Derek Favors, boy. We gonna be able to figure something out with these centers, man. This is gonna be great. And da 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 da. Boy, we couldn't have messed that up more.
Yeah, they stumbled and bumbled all that to hell, man. So yeah, that was them old
What
days.
would have happened when we took Darius Garland, bro? And Christian Wood probably would have still more than likely been on the team. Christian Wood would have been our backup center. That'd have been crazy.
Yeah, that would have been nice to see that, man, happen. That'd have been nice. All right, let's move on to the next topic, man. We're gonna come back to draft talk a little later on in the next stream or whatnot. Let's talk about some things that are happening and popping in the front office for the Pelicans. Well, not popping would be the proper term there, as former Clipper general manager Michael Winger leaves to run the Wizards organization, which puts Trajan Langdon back in the Pelicans building. He was trying to become a real general manager of an NBA team. He ultimately was looking to try to move on and go to Washington. Washington chose someone else. So that pushed Langdon back firmly for at least another year back with the Pelicans. So he was a prominent part of the Wizards search. According to the sources, Winger and Langdon were two executives known to have had substantial in-person meetings with the owner and the leadership. Wizards have been conducting a methodical month-plus long search for a new top basketball exec to replace Tommy Shepard, who was dismissed in April. So Trajan is back with the Pelicans after trying to get the job. And speaking of somebody else that was trying to get a job outside the building, and guess what? Mr. Collins. Apparently he ran out. He's not in the job for the Pistons job. He
Thank
wasn't
God.
for it. Just a couple of days after the manager of Pelicans, general manager Trajan Langdon, lost out to the Clippers GM Michael Winger, Washington Wizards front office opening appears as though the team's lead assistant coach Jarron Collins is out of the running for the Detroit Pistons head coach vacancy. Collins, who had been viewed as a finalist for the position, was the only candidate out of the three that were designated with a label who did not receive another interview, according to Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports. So, as you can see the tweet right there, I've been told that Detroit had Kevin Ollie scheduled, and that's who I think they'll end up getting the job. Another meeting today with Charles Lee slated tomorrow in Los Angeles. Pelicans assistant Jarron Collins will not schedule for another session with the Pistons. So he comes back to the Pelicans, and while that does not completely rule him out of the contention for the position, it is pretty telling gesture. I think it is. Collins got his start with the coaching scouting side of things in 2013 as a scout for the Clippers. From there, he joined head coach Steve Kerr's staff upon Kerr's arrival in Golden State in 2014. And he started out as a player developmental coach, but after one season, was promoted to assistant coach and told he spent 7 seasons with the organization, contributed to 3 NBA titles in the process, and Collins has been head coach Willie Green's lead assistant since Green was named to the position back in 21. Now, Lee, and that's pretty much what it is. So Collins is back with Willie, DC, and so is Trajan Langdon is back with David Griffin in the Pelicans. So there you go. Two guys that were looking to try to make a move. It didn't work out. They back with the team. What's your thoughts?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Yeah, I think that's excellent, man. It went the way it should. At some point, we're probably going to end up losing one, or if not both of these guys. But I don't think we're ready at this point yet. Willie, obviously, I think is preparing himself for that, and I think it's just a blessing because we all know Trajan Langdon, as well as Mr. David Collins, is they're really good at their positions, man. Trajan Langdon a lot of times gets overlooked, as well as Collins, because Willie Green has started off as a defensive-minded head coach, right? Not, and Collins is the defensive assistant, but this guy was also there to help set up the Warriors, in their defense. A lot of people forget that. Trajan Langdon, they set up the Brooklyn Nets that were able to build all of those pieces to be able to get Kyrie and Kevin Durant and James Harden. The team he built was the reason they wanted to go over there. And for us to be able to retain these two guys is very good, man, for the meanwhile of our organization, because we still got some ways to go. We don't need to be letting people chip off of what we already have. We haven't had a sustainable amount of success just yet to where we could easily supplement or be able to handle a blow like that. And I'm not fully confident in David Griffin getting this more tentacles on everything with a guy like Trajan Langdon getting up out of there. Because, if he gets up out of there, he's probably going to get somebody even less subservient than Trajan Langdon, which I'm not sure I'm really ready for, man. I like the draft picks we've been getting, although I wish we had more shooting. But far as looking at us draft as opposed to other teams, I'd say the Pelicans are a success. Biggest blunder since Trajan Langdon has been here has been trading away that number 4 pick to get Jackson Hayes and NAW. But we all know that was a David Griffin idea, right? So I think being able to hang on to him really sets us up well to be able to continue to have a pipeline of young guys to come in at least for one more or 2 more drafts, unless he finds a job somewhere else, and we can continue to have these young guys come in as this team gets more expensive and still have quality players around BI and Zion and Jared. Well, that's what I call him, David Collins, Jared Collins, as well, will continue to possibly propel us to being a number 1 defense. I think at that point, if we get into the top 3 defense, he probably would be able to get a job somewhere. I'm looking forward to seeing that this year, man. As we've went on, every year it seems the Pels defensively have gotten better. With a lot of the, I guess, idea of having a shakeup at center, I'm curious to see what we do as far as JV. Even though I'm one of the people who would like him here, still curious to see what the Pels are going to do or how they're going to implement their defense, if they're going to change anything. Or maybe we have what we need. We might be underestimating Carlo Mikovic. They might trade JV and go with Carlo or something. Start Larry, got Carlo and EJ. Who knows, man, what the Pels are going to do. But whatever that is, I think having Jared Collins still around will help us tremendously, man. I think he's a big advantage to what we do defensively. Happy to see these guys there.
Yeah, having a brain like Trajan back there and Collins is definitely a help for the Pelicans, and that was Willie's top assistant, man. So he would have to kind of start a whole new thing there. So I mean, just keeping everything.
Yeah, he's our backup head coach, if I'm not mistaken, right?
hmm Top assistant. All right.
Hmm.
So with that being said, man, listen, appreciate you guys for chiming on this episode of Pelican Post Game Report. Much love to the fan. We appreciate you. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed, man. Check out the merch in the description section below as well. Support the Pelican stream. And we'll be soon, fam. We'll be having a join. We have memberships where you can be able to join the Pelican Post Game Report in terms of financial contributions to help out the stream as we continue to build the number one independent, largest Pelican platform in the land. The Pelican Post Game Report going strong, been going strong. We up in this thing. So, DC, when that draft is coming around, bro? When the draft is, man? I forgot.
I'd be lying if I knew, man. I've been preoccupied with the finals. I know the draft usually comes right after the finals, maybe a couple of weeks, right? And the finals should be over, I think, June 22nd.
June 22nd, Thursday. NBA draft is on a Thursday, June 22nd. A Thursday,
Okay.
DC. So, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. All right, so with that being said, we're going to get out on that, man. I appreciate y'all for chiming in, man. Much love to the fam. And I'm going to holler at y'all on the flip side. Peace and go Pels.